So in this video, I'm going to very briefly show you not the whole fifth 6 weeks project step one. I'm just going to show you how I started it, just so you guys can kind of get the idea of what we're looking for in this project. So first and foremost, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here in my Word document, and I'm going to come up to Layout, and I'm going to go to Size, and I do not have an 11 by 17 button, so I'm going to go to More Paper Sizes, and I'm going to change it to a width of 11 and a height of 17. Again, you can switch those if you want to. It's not such a big deal which way you do it. I'm just going to do it this way, just because I know how I want this to look in the end. So, like I said, first I'm going to do 11 by 17. I'm going to hit OK. It says some margins are outside the printable area. That's not a big deal. I'm going to hit Ignore. I do want to make sure my margins are a decent size. Right now they're 1 inch on each side, which is fine. I'm also going to go ahead and do things like change my font, because I like particular fonts. Like my favorite is probably this Garamond font. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make my title, we'll call it Estimating X-intercepts. Okay. And so now that I've got my name up here, I might even change this so that it's a nice pretty X. I can either do italicized, or normally what I do is I go to Insert, and I go to Symbol, and I make it an equation, so it looks like a nice fancy X. And then, so one of the things that I need to do right off the bat, like I said, I'm going to change my fonts a little bit, is I need to go ahead and write down the equation that I'm going to use, and I need to write down the bounds upon which I'm going to estimate the x-intercept. Now, this is the key part here, is I do want your equation to be written in an equation editor. So like I said, Microsoft Word has a built-in one, so I'm just going to type in the word equation. I'm going to hit a colon, and I'm going to go up to Insert, and it's under Symbols, and I can hit equation, and it's going to give me the option of typing the equation. So my equation is f of x equals, and I'm going to make it an exponent, so I'm going to go to Script. I'm going to click on this first one, so it's x to the 5th plus 24 x to the 4th plus 75 x cubed minus 2,146 x squared minus 17836x minus 22040. So that's going to be my equation, and I want to estimate on the interval from, and again, I'm going to do another equation, so Insert, Symbol, Equation. I'm going to go with some brackets, and I'm going to use these nice closed brackets right here, square brackets, and my numbers are from -2 to -1. All right, so now that I've got that set up, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the next part, which is going to be my table. So I'm going to left align real fast. That's this button. And I'm going to come up to Insert, and I'm going to make a table. The table that I'm going to do is not on this grid. I'm going to do 11 columns and 12 rows. Okay. So it's going to automatically fix my column width, and it's not so much a big deal as to how wide your columns are. This is just going to be what it looks like. So I'm essentially going to break this into different chunks. So this first one, again, I'm going to do another equation. So Insert, Symbols, Equation, type in X. To speed things up, I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut, which is Alt equals, just so I don't have to keep going over there and finding the equation button. And I'm just going to type those in real fast. All right. Notice I'm leaving myself a column in between, and you'll see why I'm leaving a column in between in a second. So I'm going to start with -2.0, and then I'm going to count all the way up to -1, so -1.9, -1.8, -1.7, -1.6, -1.5, -1.4, -1.3, -1.2, -1.1, and -1.0. Okay. Now I went ahead and already did all of my calculations, so you're just going to see me type those in real fast. So the first one is 4,800. Then I've got 3874.92441. Now remember, it says in the rubric, it says in the description of this project that if it extends more than 5 decimal places, you can leave it at 5 decimal places. So that's what I have right there is 5 decimal places. So the next one is 2907.40672. Then I've got 1897.03683. Negative 1.6 is 843.44064. The next one I got is negative 1.5 goes with negative 253, excuse me, 0.71875. Negative 1394.73984. Well, that one ran out of room, so I might make that column a little bit bigger. There we go. Some of these might run out of room, so let's see. Negative 2579.88153. Negative 3809.36192. Negative 5083.35711. And negative 6402. All right, so those are all of my first sets of numbers. I'm probably gonna just go ahead and center them within the column. And now I'm going to move on to the next one. Now, so you notice one of the reasons why I have this extra column here is so that if I have to change the width of one of these columns, it's not going to cut into one of my others. I'm still going to have enough space in between. So the other thing that I'm going to do when I move on to the next one is I'm actually going to hide this. You're never actually going to see this column in my final answer. And I mean, you don't have to, but I'm going to do it just because I think it looks nicer. So I'm just going to highlight this whole column, and I'm going to come up to this little button right here. Notice it's on the Home tab, and I'm going to tell it I don't want the top border, I don't want the bottom border, and I don't want the inside borders. And notice now, you don't even see this other column. It's just disappeared. It's still there, but we don't see it. Now, okay, so this is using Bolzano's theorem. And so one of the things that I'm going to do with Bolzano's theorem, remember, is I'm looking for a positive answer and a negative answer. So here's my positive answer, and the one right below it is my negative answer. Remember, we're looking for these two right next to each other. So in order to try to make things look a little bit cleaner, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to highlight these. I'm going to do that. Remember this button where I hid and showed my borders? The button right next to it is a paint can. I'm going to highlight these in a color. Let's just do, I don't know, I'll choose this blue. Blue is a nice color. So I can very quickly see and find what those two numbers are. I could also, if I wanted to make it nice, look pretty, I might change that top column, just so I remember that's my x and f of x. I might change that to maybe a gray. And then I can change these other ones too to make sure they all look the same. That might be nice. And so the next step is I'm probably going to go ahead and do kind of the same thing with these other columns where I hid what they look like so I don't have to see them. And since we're doing Bolzano's theorem, I need to go ahead and move on to the next stage of it, which is taking these two answers and finding the next layer in, going a next step deeper in between them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to Insert, and I'm going to go to Shape, and I'm going to choose this line arrow. And so watch what I'm doing. I'm going to draw this arrow from this negative 1.6 to up here at the top. And I'm going to go back to Insert, Shape. I'm going to do another line arrow, and I'm going to draw it from this negative 1.5 down to the bottom. Now, one of the things you may also want to do just to kind of help yourself out and maybe make it a little easier to follow along is you can actually make this also that same blue color so that people, or, you know, someone coming back and looking behind you might recognize that you're using the same number both times. So negative 1.60, and I'll put the negative 1.50 down here. And I'll go ahead and fill in those same numbers. So it's 843.44064, and this other one was negative 253.71875. Again, I said you might have to make that a little bit wider, and I'll go ahead and center these just so they look a little bit prettier. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and kind of fill in the next level. So we're going to go negative 1.59, we'll do negative 1.58, negative 1.57, negative 1.56, negative 1.55, negative 1.54, negative 1.53, negative 1.52, and negative 1.51. All right. So just to kind of keep in mind some of the things that are going to happen as I move along is I'm going to keep plugging in numbers and seeing what happens. I'm not going to type in all of these numbers. You'll type in all of these numbers. I'm just trying to save me some time in this video. And so I'm just going to focus on the next layer, which was at negative 1.53, I've got 80.02172, and at negative 1.52, I've got negative 30.78693. And so what I can do now is I can highlight these, and I can either use the same color, I can use a different color just to show that I'm getting a little bit deeper. Let's use green this time. Green's a good color. And then I'll do the next set of arrows, and so go up to Insert Shapes, go to the line arrow, and if I wanted to, I might even make these arrows also green. So I would do that under Shape Outline, and I would choose that same green color. That way it all matches nicely. Go to Insert, go to Shape, go to Line. We'll draw that one. And I'm going to change it to green too. All right, boom. And so this next level, like I said, we're just going to keep going deeper. So negative 1.530, and this bottom one will be negative 1.520, and whoop, that's a 9. And I might, like I said, I might highlight these just to show that they're the same numbers that I had before. They're just now in a new place. And so this last one, again, is just going to be to the 4th decimal place instead of the 3rd decimal place. And so I'm hoping that this kind of helps you along in your process. Remember, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for, over here is my final answer, the one that is closest to 0, because Bolzano's there, we're looking at a positive and a negative. So if I were to choose at a 2nd decimal place, I would choose the negative 30 as opposed to the 80. So my final answer would be estimated x-intercept at, and I'll do an equation again, x equals negative 1.52, and whatever else I get as my answer. So like I said, I went ahead and did all these calculations out. I think that's probably going to be the most time-consuming part of this, is sitting down and actually doing all the calculations and then just typing them into the computer. Notice I didn't have to sit here and show what I did, but all of these answers, I just plugged in negative 2, negative 1.9 into this original function. And so hopefully that does help you guys along. Make sure you're keeping in mind that there are certain parts of this that are required by the rubric. For instance, you have to go 4 decimal places. Round at 5 is fine. If you want to give me more, but a minimum of 5, unless it stops early like this 4800. Also required are the arrows. You need to include the arrows. The highlights are not required, but they are helpful. So it would be something that I would consider doing, just as a personal thing. Like I said, I just wanted to show you guys what I did to try to make mine look nice and pretty. Hopefully this does help you out and kind of maybe speed things along in the guessing and testing process. Again, remember, things that you need to do are, for the arrows, insert, shape, and then the line arrow. And for the equation editor, go to insert, symbol, and then equation. Or again, the keyboard shortcut is Alt and equals. You hit both buttons at the same time. Again, hopefully that helps you guys move along. Good luck to you. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a good day. Bye.